Hey, welcome back to my studio. This is my day of play, where you're taken into the real events and actions of what actually happens long before the process of editing and cleaning up. This is how it really went. First, we're going to get real. Authors Liz Kleinrock and illustrator Caroline Pritchard introduce us to something that's always been in front of us, but rarely, if ever, have we recognized it. Their book is titled, What Jewish Looks Like. Our second conversation deals with bad medicine, and I'm not talking Jon Bon Jovi. Dr. Marty's book is titled Blind Spots, When Medicine Gets It Wrong. And then we're going to wrap things up with an 88-year-old novelist who is a bright star and unbelievably funny, Mr. Don Johnston. This is my day of play, completely unedited in the way of meeting the wizard behind the curtain. Hello and good morning, everybody.
Good morning. It's the operator. I'm calling with Liz Kleinrock and Caroline Pritchard for What Jewish Looks Like interview today.
Looking forward to it.
And I do hope that it's going to be taped. Do you know when it's going to air?
Tomorrow morning.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Monday?
No, tomorrow. Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'll go ahead and get you connected. The ladies are ready for you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You will now be placed into the conference.
You are connected. Please go ahead.
Hello and good morning, you two. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having us.
You guys, this book cover has really captured my soul in so many different ways, and the reason why is because we're coming up on an anniversary that I don't think the world really deserved, and I saw this book cover, and I'm reminded of every person who is still missing because we didn't know what Jewish people look like, and those pictures of a year ago, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Wow. And then right here on your book cover, it's the same thing. People are getting it wrong. And all you want to do is teach us. You want to show us a better way.
Thank you. I feel very seen by you saying that. I appreciate it.
It is amazing how you are sharing history with a generation that has lost its walk. And I mean, just going through this book, I keep going back to the same stories, and I'm going, what did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? The time you have put into this is just amazing.
Wow. It was a labor of love, I will say for sure. I mean, our hope was to, showcase 36 different Jewish people from across time, from across place around the world, and to really bring their stories to light, and to do that in a way that's truly honoring of the complexity of not just their identities, but of their lives. And I think that, like you mentioned, it takes time. It's such a labor of love. And so really appreciate you naming that. And we hope that it comes through as a really dynamic and engaging reading experience as opposed to one that feels kind of flat, that we hope it kind of jumps out to kids. And there's a way for each of them to really feel drawn in.
But you know how it's going to jump out to kids? They're going to start writing their own stories about their own family members because they're going to realize, wait a second, I don't know about my grandma. Please, will you please, Mom, tell me something about her so that we can save it? Because this is a book of inspiration as well as empowerment.
Oh, thank you. We certainly hope so.
One of the things where I think one of the reasons why I'm so touched by it is because one of my wife's pet peeves is, it's like when she's confronted by this, I mean, she has to keep her cool. She goes, oh, yeah, I can see the Jewish in you. And she goes, really? 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 I mean, and she can't be the only one that has to go through that.
She definitely is not. This is Liz, and I am Korean American, and was adopted by a Jewish family. And so I also identify as culturally Jewish, religiously Jewish. I grew up keeping kosher. My parents still keep kosher. And the title of this book, What Jewish Looks Like, really came from all of the experiences I had growing up and still sometimes have to this day, where when people find out that I'm Jewish, the response is, oh, well, you don't look Jewish.
Yeah, see?
And so I want to just respond, what does that mean? Because I am. That sounds like that's a misconception that you're going to have to grapple with, because I absolutely am Jewish.
Well, you really put diversity in this book, and that is such a teaching tool.
Yes, very much so, and really trying to embrace and embody diversity in every sense of that word. Certainly we highlight people of different racial and multi-ethnic backgrounds, but when it comes to gender identity, when it comes to body type, when it comes to language and location, really wanting to show the beauty and complexity and diversity of the Jewish community around the world, not just what is represented most often in the United States.
When did you know that it was time to put this into different chapters? Because each chapter has its own identity, such as to repair a broken world. This is such a place where I get lost so much in it because I'm learning so much without having to go to Google. It's a physical book in my hands with word on a glossy page.
That was definitely an early challenge, an exciting opportunity, too, to figure out how in the world are we going to organize all of these individuals that have so many similarities, of course, that are so wildly different in interests and every indicator. And so Liz came up with the idea, as opposed to chronologically organizing them or maybe doing it by career, thinking, okay, well, what is it that unites these folks? And it almost seems too obvious, but it was right in front of us, which was their Jewish values. So we figured out, okay, what are the 6 most pertinent ways that their Jewish identity shows up? And so we had, things like tikkun olam, which means to repair a broken world, or the idea of hope, or pikuah nefesh, which is to save a life. There are these, important core pillar Jewish values, and we organized folks that could have fit many, but into the ones that felt most resonant with their stories. And we hope that along with a number of other things like quotes and pull-out facts and just gorgeous illustrations that Iris Gottlieb created will really help draw folks in. And hearing that you held it in your hands and it felt almost better than in Google is music to our ears.
Oh, it's so special. It really is. And, one of the things that it kind of opens people's hearts to is that it's Jewish people are not just actors or directors or movie company owners. You give us the real life person inside these pages.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We even, what you just mentioned, we're trying to do some of the work of deconstructing some of those stereotypes.
Yep.
So the reality is there are a ton of Jewish people that are in entertainment, and there's a good reason for that. And so we have a whole spread talking about why was this an industry that actually we were able to pave our way in at a time where Jews were not welcome in other industries. And why is that actually a beautiful story to share and not one to shy away from? And so we want to make sure that we're being honest about this in a way that's empowering and truthful, and deconstructing some of the really harmful stereotypes that still exist.
You're very real in this book in the way that in the opening pages you talk about, are Jews a race? I mean, I was like, wow, they jumped right into that one.
Yes, definitely not shying away from any of these questions, because I think as an educator, I think a lot about this idea of front-loading. What is the information that people need to be able to understand and wrap their heads around before engaging with other content and information in a deeper and more meaningful way? And so for folks who might be coming in with these misconceptions and stereotypes about who Jewish people are and how Jewish people have been racialized and identified by folks who are not Jewish throughout history, is really important to be able to grapple with before diving into the beauty of the Jewish community, who we are, how we've shown up, and how we are still guided by these values despite being very different.
One of the things that I learned when my wife and I first got together 34 years ago was that I learned the family, the love, the history, the stories. And then of course you deal with it right here. Do all people of Jewish people deal with Judaism the same? And that's one of the first things that I ever learned is that no, it's not the same.
Exactly, and I think Liz had talked about diversity in all its forms earlier, and that's another example of how we wanted to show diversity of practice. And what does it mean to be Orthodox, conservative, reform, and beyond? And even within those groupings, how do individual families and individual people express their Jewish identity in ways that are all beautiful and also valid?
So where do you take it from here? Because, I mean, a book is a book and we're learning from the book, but now we need an activation. If you know what I mean, it's like, okay, so now I've learned this. How can I become a better person in understanding what they have shared?
Well, we really hope that this book is the beginning, not the end to folks' education. One Jewish value that I think you'll definitely see in this book, but one that I think is also really collectively shared by Jewish people, is this value of curiosity, and hoping that reading this book, learning about the people that we've highlighted, grappling with those big questions that you mentioned, really spark people's curiosity and inspire them to want to do some more learning on their own. If it's digging deeper into the lives of any of the people featured, if it's researching Jewish people in any of the locations around the world that we've also centered, it can be kind of like a choose your own adventure depending on what you happen to be interested in.
Man, 10 minutes with you guys is not enough. I have one more question, and I know that they're going to get upset, the producers and stuff, but how do we get rid of the them theory? And I think I'm going to explain it this way. Someone's going to look at this, they're going to see it's Zach Perlman, and they're going to say, oh, he's one of them. We need to get rid of them. We need to say we are all one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, Caroline, go ahead.
I think what I'm hearing from the question is, how do we break down the walls that are separating us in so many ways?
Yes.
And I think that's really the heart of what this book's about, is saying, we live in a world that's really tribal. And that really feels comfortable saying, like, oh, well, you look like me, or you're like me, and so it's us versus them. And I hope that when someone holds a book like this and sees, like, wait, even within the Jewish community, there is such a burst of expression and of representation of self, and how this is true for the Jewish community, this must be true of all different sorts of communities, the ones I'm close to and the ones I may not understand deeply yet. And so hopefully this is one step in that journey to say diversity is a value because it helps us see ourselves in everyone, and that really the us and them is just, it's so not only not helpful, but it's just not true to life.
I love you guys for bringing this book forward. I hope we meet many more times in the future because I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're
grateful to be here.
Please come back to this show anytime. The door is always going to be open for you.
Thank
you. Thank you for having us.
You bet. You be brilliant today, okay, you two?
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye. Hey, coming up next, what if the medication you're taking isn't right? Is it possible?
Recording in progress.
Coming in now.
Good morning, Michael.
Morning, Ara. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. How about you? Oh, you're in the studio today, huh?
That's right.
Look at that Mets cup. Oh, my God.
We're not in the playoffs yet. But anyway, here's Dr. McCary. You have till 20 after.
Good morning, Doctor. How are you doing?
Good morning. Great.
Dude, I gotta tell you something. I love, first of all, what you've done with this book, Blind Spots, because my dad would just say, look, you don't go see a doctor, just go eat some dirt, you'll feel better. And sometimes I really think that that's what the situation is.
Look, the old dirt theory would have done some good when the peanut allergy prevention dogma came out of the so-called experts telling kids to avoid peanut butter. If they would have known about the basic dirt theory or the basic principle of immune tolerance, they would have not have ignited our modern day peanut allergy epidemic.
Is that the reason why there is one? Because somewhere along the line we skipped something?
That's right. The experts in the year 2000 issued this strong recommendation for parents to avoid peanut butter for all young children. And they thought it would prevent the development of peanut allergies later in life, but it turns out it causes peanut allergies later in life. Avoidance results in immune sensitization and higher rates of peanut allergies. And so we now know the best practices are to introduce a little bit of peanut butter when a kid is 5 or 6 months of age, and that is protective of peanut allergies late. If they had said nothing or not issued this bold, wrong recommendation, America would not lead the world in peanut allergies today. They ignited this modern day epidemic.
Wow. You know, I've sat down with many medicine men from Native American nations, and they've always said to me, remember, the Western culture practices medicine. Keep that in your heart, practices. Well, how do you feel about subjects like that?
Well, look, we need a civil discourse in medicine. You need to hear from different experts. We need to challenge deeply held assumptions. We've got some massive blind spots in modern medicine. The health of the country is getting worse. I mean, half of our nation's country, or half of our nation's children, rather, are obese or overweight. Autism goes up 14% every year for the last 23 consecutive years. And in my field of pancreatic cancer, cancer rates have doubled in the last 20 years. Fertility is going down, sperm counts are going down, the age of puberty is going down. What's going on? Who's working on these problems? We've got to talk about our poison food supply, ultra-processed foods, the role of pesticides, the 1,000 so ingredients that are banned in Europe and Canada but are routinely used as food ingredients in the United States. We've got to talk about the root causes. We can't just tell doctors to focus on billing and coding and then measure them by their throughput and call that a healthcare system. We need to actually talk about health.
You know, you talk about those processed foods. You know, I thought, hey, I'm doing really good. I have sauerkraut every day. I'm getting my probiotics. And then I learn, is it processed? It's like, oh, no, I've been doing it wrong.
Well, one of the leading sources of calories today in the United States, tragically, are seed oils, the vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil. All these things sound healthy, but they're not. They're denatured at high temperatures.
Yep.
They are changed in their chemical structure with a solvent. And so these are chemicals, and yet they're 10 to 20% of U.S. calories come from these seed oils. You want to avoid these ultra-processed foods. You want to cook with natural fats or avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, or coconut oil. These are healthy ingredients. And so we've got to talk about our ultra-processed food system. We've got to talk about school lunch programs, not just putting every kid on Ozempic.
Yeah. So you just you're inside my head right now, because I'm seeing a lot of commercials lately that say 15 seconds out of every day, all it takes is a shot and you can lose weight. Those commercials are really starting to make me nervous about the future.
Look, we can't keep medicating every problem in society. That's what pharma tells us. We've got to deal with the root causes. When you go on Ozempic, you're on it for life, unless you change your lifestyle, unless you actively work out and eat a high-protein diet. So we're trading one problem for another. And while you might see short-term weight loss and a reduction in obesity-related health problems in the short term, remember, these drugs, as they are today, are lowering your muscle mass. They're reducing the amount of muscle. And guess what the number one predictor of how long you live is? It's your muscle mass.
Wow. What about statins? I'm on statins. My body hurts like hell. The doctor says you're wrong. You don't hurt like hell. And I'm going, well, come on, man. And he says, well, I can take you off, but then you know what's going to happen.
Well, statins do cause muscle cramps. That's a known complication. Statins have been shown to save lives, although a recent study found that statins have a survival benefit both in people with high cholesterol and with normal cholesterol levels, suggesting it's not the cholesterol lowering effect as we think. It may be the anti-inflammatory effect, which is a side effect of statins. And there's a lot of other things we can do to reduce general body inflammation, namely eating healthy foods.
The book we're talking about is Blind Spots. I would love to watch somebody read this book, because what they're going to do is they're going to get lost in it. In other words, they're going to dive into it and they're going to say, oh my God, oh, let me find something else. It's like a book of knowledge right there in our hands.
Yeah, I wanted to go through the big health topics that relate to everyday decisions and choices people make, where they're not being told the truth or medical dogma still looms large. It turns out some of the biggest health recommendations have been reversed, and many people are not even aware, or some of them need to be reversed based on the latest scientific studies. So I wanted to present that medical research directly to people about gut health, about hormone replacement therapy for menopausal women, an amazing therapy that unfortunately has been demonized as causing breast cancer, how to prevent cancer, peanut allergies, what to eat, and a natural yet medically appropriate way to deliver babies. So if you like stories, I use a lot of storytelling to tell the stories so that people can understand the truth about health.
You know, we've heard our entire lives about menopause and the tragic things that women go through. Why is it we never put focus on male menopause?
Well, it's different physiology, and there is some parallel between a woman's reduced production of natural estrogen and progesterone and a male having less testosterone later in life. But for women, the benefits of replacing their body's estrogen are overwhelming and far outweigh the benefits that we see with testosterone replacement in men. For example, women who go through menopause who start estrogen within 10 years of menopause live 3.5 years longer. Their blood vessels stay healthier because it increases nitric oxide. They have half the rate of heart attacks. The rate of cognitive decline goes down by 50 to 60%. It prevents Alzheimer's with a 35% relative risk reduction. And if a woman falls, she's far less likely to break a bone or have a hip fracture because the bones are stronger when a woman starts estrogen. All these benefits are tremendous. But sadly, 80% of doctors don't prescribe estrogen for postmenopausal women because they perceive that it causes an increase in breast cancer mortality, which it never did. The data never supported that, and I go through that in the book.
Hopefully I'm not crossing the line with this next one, only because, we've always read about how antibiotics and our body gets used to it. Well, I just had my 6th COVID shot because I'm always out in the public. Is my body ever going to get used to that and it's not going to work anymore?
Well, there's a theory that multiple COVID booster shots may reduce one's immune response to COVID and increase susceptibility. There was a famous study during the Omicron outbreak that found that people with multiple boosters actually had an increased susceptibility. Now, it was just one study, but it did sort of raise that question, and there is a bit of a debate going on among immunologists.
How can people get in touch with you in the way of reading this book and activating this book? Because they're going to get the information in it, but then they're going to have questions. And I think that's what people need to do. If you're going to activate it and learn from it, we've got to have answers to questions.
Yeah, so I'm on social media of all sorts, and the book is called Blind Spots. I've got a website, martymd.com. And I hope the book creates a conversation and people see the latest scientific research and make decisions for themselves.
Man, 10 minutes with you is just not enough because, we didn't hit opioids. We didn't talk about so many different things, but I just want people to get their hands on this book and ask themselves the question and then go to your book.
Well, thanks so much. I hope people enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it.
Absolutely. Will you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you. I don't know how many years I've been trying to invite people to pick up a writing instrument and put words on a page, but this man started at the age of 80. Coming up next, it's Don Johnston.
This is Don.
Happy birthday to you.
Hello.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Don. Happy birthday to you.
Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, this makes the discussion even better. Today's my birthday, and I'm 88 years old. That's getting on up there, isn't it?
Well, no, not yet. No, you're still in your teen years. I can hear it in your voice.
Oh yeah. I already went out and walked 2 miles this morning, so maybe that's why I'm doing well at this age. So how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm glad you brought up that subject of walking because I too am a big walker. I think that's where creativity is given to those of us who really like to put words on a page, and we get it from walking.
I agree 100%. I have never not done that. When I was playing basketball as a teenager, and all of my life after I got so old I couldn't play full court, and that was in my late 40s, I just started walking, and I've been doing it ever since. And I think that is one of the reasons I'm in good health. I know a lot of it is genetics, but still, you got to take care of yourself, don't you?
You're so right about that. So why did it take so long to become an author then? We're talking about 8 decades it took you.
That's right. Actually, I wrote when I was in the Air Force, I was stationed at the Panama Canal. That was in 56 through 58. And I wrote a gossip column for the base newspaper. But that was all of the creative writing I did until I was 80. And since I turned 80, I wrote 4 books. But I did write a lot. I wrote research papers. I'm a bacteriologist and chemist, and I wrote a lot of research papers and even a few technical papers published in journals, but no creative writing until I turned 80. And then I sort of missed writing, and I said, I'll try it on science fiction, political fiction. And so I love it. I work on it just about every day.
Well, see, I'm a daily writer, and I've been doing that for 30 years, so I totally get it.
I know. I looked at your webpage and all that stuff, and the things that you had written, and I could see that you wrote a pretty good variety. Mine is nearly all, I would say, science fiction, laced with some political intrigue.
Yeah.
I got sort of a standard that I write.
Wow. See, I cheated the system is what I did, Don, is that I went to Barnes & Noble, and there's a book in there that lists all these different publishers and what they're looking for. So I said, well, okay, I'm going to write a book about that because they're looking for it. They said they'll publish it. And I thought, wow, why did I do that? Because my first 2 books out there had nothing to do with the way that I really write.
Mm-hmm. I see people writing series, and and people, if they pick up on the first one, then they sell that. They're able to sell the next series. And I never thought like that. To me, when I end one, I ended, and this last one, By Means of Peace, nearly everybody that read it said, "Well, you need to come out with something else. Continue that." I never even thought about it. I'd already started another book. I have. So when I finish and go to the next one.
Dude, when I was in the 11th grade, I wanted to drop out because I was injured because of hockey. And my teacher said, please come back to school. I'll let you write because I know you love to write. And it took me 32 years to finally publish that book. But that's how important it is to write. Just get it out.
That is amazing. And, I'm comfortably retired now, and I can do this. And I'd like to be on the New York Times bestseller and all that kind of thing. But I'm not really in it this time for the money. As I say, I'm comfortably retired. And so I'm just wanting to get my book out there and let people read it. In fact, I've set up the first 5 days of October, my new book is going to be free on Amazon. I've set it up already. So By Means of Peace, I hope everybody that's listening to your podcast, and I know that's lots of people, I hope they all get the free book. I won't make any money, but they might have fun. Hey, I'll give them a money back guarantee. It won't cost them anything.
Well, I got to ask you a question about this book, By Means of Peace, because, you really put the world in a place. It takes place in 2148, but, man, you talk about a divided conspiracy-generated nation that, and even our freedom of speech is in trouble. You don't hold back on this book, dude.
I don't hold back at all. And let me tell you how I started this. I started it at the midterm elections, and I noticed how divided the nation was. Mm-hmm. And I said, everybody's going to vote party lines no matter who the candidate is. And so then I started throwing around words like groupthink and that type of thing. So that's a major parallel between By Means of Peace and the current election, is that we both, that book and the real world occur in a divided America. So I don't, and I tiptoed a little though, Arrow. I incriminated both Democrats and Republicans. So I don't want anyone. I didn't want any one side to get mad at me,
Oh, I can relate with that. Oh my God, being a radio person, it's like I'm gonna walk that white picket fence is what I'm gonna do. I remember when I first came down to the Carolinas, I was calling it Tar Heel Blue Skies, and man, the people at Duke University were upset with me. You can't take a side.
No, you have to be careful. One side will get mad at you and blacklist you. Maybe worse. So, and I always come through with a third party. In this case, he rises to the position of world dictator. At first, he gets in there, and just solves all the problems. And that's where I got the title By Means of Peace. That's actually a phrase out of the book of Daniel, that some ruler comes into power, and it says, by means of peace, he will destroy many. That's the whole phrase. And so that's really the outline of my book. When one sentence there, it's not, not a religious book, but I really like that phrase, because after he had solved problems and brought peace, then he elevates himself to king of the world, a world dictator. Ooh. And a lot of people still follow him, but people have begun to think that, hey, this guy's creating these problems so he can control us. Yep, so that's the whole thing. I like these conspiracy theories. I'm a conspiracy theorist light. I've got friends that everything in the world to them is a conspiracy theory. Well, I'm not quite that heavily into it.
What I always tell people is, okay, I don't want to start a conspiracy theory, but I want to break it down. That's what I tell them. I say, I want to break it down. This is what I'm thinking. We're just breaking it down.
Yeah, that's right. You're not necessarily believe it, but you're still thinking about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, let me ask you a question. With the book taking place in 2148, I know that in my book, Halloween 78, I had to speak of the future in this book. How do you go all these years into the future and kind of, not only do you have to visualize it, but as readers, we have to experience it. How do you do that?
Yeah, with 2148, I looked again, and I might have not advanced it as much as I should have. They're self-driving cars, and nearly everybody uses public transportation, which I believe we will be then. And the cash is not used. Everybody, I didn't mention crypto or anything like that, but everybody's paying bills by the thumbprint on on the phone and that sort of stuff. And I have food is still pretty standard. I wish I'd have done something different there, because in my new book, I'm having them grow the food in picture cultures and print out the steaks on 3D printers. I wish I'd have done that. I wish I'd have done that in my means of peace, but I didn't. I didn't get the food quite like I'd like to.
So in 2148, will we still be waiting in long lines at Chick-fil-A?
I tell you what, I dug by Chick-fil-A the other night at 9 o'clock to get an ice cream cone. 9 o'clock, and I had to wait. So I don't know how they can speed that up. They moved across the street here in my location and got a bigger place. They still can't keep the lines moving fast enough. I think that may never change.
When I grew up, I feared the year 1984. And then when 1984 happened, then things were a little bit different. It didn't go as the book said. But don't you think that a book like By Means of Peace, with you putting that date on there, 2148, what about the people of 2057 that pick this book up and go, oh my God, Don, he's a prophet. He saw something, and we've got to prepare for this.
I was just like you about that 1984. That is one of my favorite dystopian novels. Well, it is my favorite. It is a true masterpiece. I didn't want mine to end as sad as that, so I sort of left it hanging, let the reader conjure up his own ending. But I've read 1984 and Brave New World several times, as a matter of fact, and they both end sadly. And I may be looking through life with rose-colored glasses, but I didn't want to end it quite that way. I left the young couple there at the end where they'll have to figure out what they're going to do.
When you do come up with the ending of a book, how many times did you change that ending? Because I've done that many times where I go, I'm feeling it, but I'm not feeling it. I'm not sure they're going to understand it.
I almost never change the ending, and it is interesting to talk to someone directly that's written several books as you have. I always know where I want to start and essentially where I'm going to end. It might have a slight change, but I don't outline every chapter. I've read that authors said they outlined every chapter before they did it. To me, that limits your characters. I like to create the character. I try to create the characters and turn them loose. That's what I want to do, and let them solve the problem. But my ending is not set in concrete. But in each of the three novels I wrote, I knew approximately how it would end.
Did you handwrite it out? Because I'm very addicted to what I do, Don. Is I go and I buy a new Mont Blanc pen. And then I will use that Mont Blanc pen only to write out what the book is going to be. And when the book is finished, I put that writing instrument away and I never use it again.
That's a good. No, I do mine on a Word document. I started out when I first started. I got me long legal pads, and started writing. And I've seen a lot of authors, particularly from my day, that is the way they did it. But I'm so used to you doing it on Word. I know people that dictate it, but I can't dictate it worth anything. When I start trying to dictate it to my computer, I just have to rewrite it. So I guess you get set in your ways a certain way of doing it, and that seems to work. But I was thinking about trying to dictate some more, and I tried the other day, and I said, well, this is terrible writing. Look like a complete amateur. You know
who one of the very first dictators were when it comes to writing? It was Mr. Mark Twain, and he would dictate and then give it to his secretary.
You know what? That's amazing. I'll tell you what, that guy was a brilliant writer. And in some states, they banned some of his books. Yeah. But he's a brilliant writer. I've read them all and really, really enjoyed them.
Let's put the subject on that. Okay, authors whose books have been banned. We're going through that right now. When you talk about 2148 and the dictator inside that storyline, what happens if people like you and I, who are storytellers, what happens when they step into our world and shut us off? Because I fear that when it comes to podcasting, that it's like how many steps away am I from being shut down?
you do wonder that. And here's the thing, Arrow, there's going to always be groups of people try to ban or censor others while they're claiming freedom of speech for themselves.
Yeah.
Now, that's the part I get excited about. And I like what Philip K. Dick, my favorite author, science fiction author, and he said, if you can, and now you get down to controlling individual words, and he said, if you can control words, then you can control the people that must use those words. I said, that's a pretty bright statement. I don't know. I worry about that, but I don't know what to do about it.
Hey, is it okay to say that it's still coming? You got plenty of time to still learn it.
Yeah. I feel like I've said I was going to write a book every 2 years. And I've gotten 4 since I was 80, so I'm on target. And I got another year. I'm writing one about artificial intelligence now. Ooh. It's similar to this one in that it's the government. They are setting up an artificial intelligence community, and they claim that that's how they will help govern the nation and can, really do it better. But mainly they're setting it up to control the people. So I guess there's a conspiracy theory I can't help but throw out.
See how you are, Don? I mean, you put subjects out there that we all can relate with, and then here comes the fear of God. It's like, oh my God, what did Don write? What did Don write about AI technology? Oh my God, he must have done the research. Oh my God.
Yeah. I've got about 20,000 words on this one, and that's roughly maybe a fourth finished. But all of my friends around close wanted me, to do a series on what this last one was. But like we said before, just didn't feel like doing that.
Yeah. What is your writing discipline? Because the first thing that I do every morning, nothing happens until I write.
I need to get back to that. I got kind of off of it. There's several things going on new but I do that. That is what I want to do. And I only write like, I'm going to say 3 hours because, hey, at my age, I got to save my eyes to watch the Astros. I'm trying to sweat them through on the Major League Baseball. So I watch every one of those games. But I am not a fast writer.
Yeah.
I am very slow, and I only if I work 3 hours, I'll only produce a couple of hundred words.
Yeah, because my writing comes in spurts. You would look at the writing and think, oh my God, he spent all this time writing. No, it came out, I may have taken 2 minutes to write this, and then I come back 25 minutes later to continue it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a little bit that way too, and a few things really went fast. In my book called The Alamogordo Connection, they went on some kind of river trip in the jungles of Panama, and I had done exactly the same thing. So all I had to do is change the names, and that's easy writing. But then when I have to construct something completely new, that's a little more difficult. And every one of mine, I have some people in the labs, and of course I was in a lab most of my life, so that is pretty easy, although the things that I put was a little different from what I was doing, but still it fit what I like to do.
Wow. Where can people go to find out about all 4 of your books and to really get into your vibe?
I think Amazon is still the best place. They can go get the hardback at Barnes and Noble if they wanted to, but they'd have to order it probably, and on Ingram Spark. And this is one thing that I haven't done well, Arrow. I realize you have to publicize your own book, and I haven't done that as well. I am satisfied with my writing. This last book, I entered it in about 10 book contests.
Yeah.
I won a prize. I won 2 golds, 2 silvers, and like an honorable mention. So I'm well satisfied with my writing. I just don't know how to promote it very well. But Amazon controls so much of the market, particularly the ebooks. That's where I would tell them to go. And as I said, I'm giving it away free. I want everybody that's listening to. From October the 1st to the 5th, they can get the ebook for free on Amazon. So no risk at all there.
Well, don't be worried about that marketing thing with your books. And the reason why is because I talk with musicians and actors every single day, and we all talk about that thing. We talk about what are we going to do to get it out there? How can we just get it on someone's list? And you got to start the conversation is what you got to do. And you being on this show, we've started the conversation, Don.
I know. I think you and I think a lot alike. Hey, except one thing. I have a terrible accent, and you have a Midwestern accent.
I do. I'm from Montana, but I live here in the South. I have fought like hell to make sure that I don't get that damn Southern accent, but I can slip into it real easy, though.
Well, Montana, like Johnny Carson, Nebraska, those are great no accents is what that is. And when I was gone from home in the Air Force, I was stationed at the Panama Canal. I lost my accent in 3 years, and when I came back to East Texas, I got it back in 2 weeks. I can't get rid of it.
Don, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. I love where your heart is.
I really enjoyed talking to you, Aaron, and I appreciate very much you having me on the show. It's fun.
Yeah, well, come back anytime. The door is always open for you.
All right. I appreciate that very much. And again, thank you very much.
Hey, so now you said you're from Texas, right?
Yes, I'm from East Texas, up in where we call the Piney Woods, the edge of the Piney Woods.
Yeah. Now, do you do what we do here in Carolina? Do you say, y'all come back?
Yes, that is exactly. I thought we invented that slang.
People up north don't know what we're talking about. Or bless your heart. Bless your heart.
Yes, right. That's another one. That's another. I thought we invented that in East Texas too, but I guess not.
No. Well, y'all come back, all right, Don?
All right, I will. I enjoyed it very much.
All right, bye, guys.
Thank you.